Welcome back and thanks for joining me. It's Judy from Thistledew Creations, and today we're going to make some more ephemera tags with family photos. You could also, if you don't have family photos, you could just use magazine clippings or purchased paper dolls with people. These ones I had pictures of my great-grandparents. I'm not sure if this is the same day, but there's two photos. One of them with her sitting up on the car. Actually, here's the original photo. Her sitting up on the car, him standing in front with her arms around his neck. And that's my great-grandparents on my mother's side. So I fussy cut them out and put them on this tag. Backed them with some dark blue. I think it offsets nicely with the mauve flowers that are in this. Kind of mauve and green and a little bit of brown. And then I decorated it up with the word remember, some doily, flower, and then on the back I put a half or just the edge of a doily and some lines for writing. My hope is that some of my family members will make notes about what they remember of the picture. And then this one is them again kissing. I don't have another copy of this photo handy, but I can't remember what was in the background. But I put love story and a little heart, pearly heart in the middle of a tiny little lace flower. And then another one of those same flowers up top and a little bee. That's a bee charm that I just cut the loop off of, and then another little piece of the doily. I didn't do the back of that one with the lines or the doily, but that's something we could do on the ones we do today. So I'm just going to put these up to the top so that you can still see them. I'm not going to copy them necessarily. What did I have set aside? Oh, I didn't. So this is from scratch, showing you what I'm doing here. So this is the backing from a toy bingo set. I salvaged the little bingo numbers out of it, and I thought this is just gonna fit for me gluing these up to cardstock, because this is just on copy paper. So I'll grab myself a glue book. Sorry it's so bright. And I just, even though these are, well, you kind of need them already. I prefer to have them already cut out. And then I'll use my glue stick all over and my white tacky glue around the edges and just a squiggle in the middle. And I'll put that right down onto the bright blue. I can line up the one edge pretty good. And don't worry if a little bit of the bright blue is showing, because I'm going to ink it with ground espresso. That's what I ended up inking those ones with. I started out inking them just with vintage photo, but then as I got closer to the end of the design process, I decided to ink them darker. So I'll probably just go ahead and ink them darker to begin with this time. I just like the contrast with the pastels. So this is pretty much my process for making tags out of packaging. Is I will fussy cut around the tags first and then glue them down to the cardstock. Get a little bit of glue on the surface there. And then I'll just cut around them again. I usually use my older scissors in case they get a little bit gluey. And just follow the lines. If you're concerned about things being square and perpendicular and parallel and all of that, then use one of your cutters, whatever cutter you have. I'm fairly confident to just cut them out, especially knowing that I'm going to ink the edges. These were printables, so they're already pretty square. If you were cutting them out of scrapbook paper, you'd likely want to use your paper trimmer and or your guillotine. But these were already tag shaped printables. And if I can find the link for where I got these, I will link it in the description box. I don't remember where I got them, but if I go back to where I saved them on my computer, it might have a hint. And I'll be able to find it again. Okay, so that's that part done. My scissors back. And I just want to round the bottom corner. I use the smallest round over on a tag this size. And that pretty much tells you if it's fairly square too, because if it's not square, it's not going to do a nice round over. It's working pretty good, so I'm pretty confident with that. And then I'll use the ground espresso around the edges. Gives it a nice darkness. It already has this craft paper color here, and I almost always ink craft color with the darker ink as well. But that's just completely covering up that blue. And then I will do the same thing around the back. I just love the way it darkens up the edges. Now this particular package is much more gray than the craft color. This is the craft color, so you can see the difference. Like that's more like what's on the front. So what I'm gonna do for that is I'm just gonna ink with Vintage Photo and just kind of do swirls so it's kind of a cloudy looking detail on the back. Gets rid of that grayness. So that's that one. The inking really does make a difference. I prefer it. Some people like things more clean, but I do prefer, especially for this stuff where it's vintage family photos, it's nostalgic. Okay, so that's the cards prepped. And then it's just a matter of finding some photos. And I did have a couple of different ones that I was going to do. What did I do with them? I thought I left them out. I left this one out just to show you what it was originally. I had another family photo that was tall and skinny that I was thinking of using. What did I do with it? Oh goodness. Oh, here they are. This one is, I'm not sure. Well, I think it is my great-grandparents again, and probably their firstborn. Since there's only one baby in the picture, I would assume it's a firstborn. And then this one I think is a generation above that I thought I would use. Like great-great-grandparents, or maybe even older than that, I'm not sure. So I think what I'm going to do is, because they will completely cover up the rows, I wanted to maybe fussy cut them to paper doll stature. So I don't care if I get his hand on her shoulder. This is just on copy paper, not on photo paper. And black and white, I will warm it up a little bit with the vintage photo. And there's like a chair that they're sitting on, so I'm going to cut that out, I think. That ruffly edge on the bottom. I think I can get away with this one on here. And this one, if I cut it out so that I cut around the baby can be sitting on top of the flower. So if any of my great aunts are watching, do let me know if you know who the baby is. Pretty sure this is my great-grandmother Georgie. I don't want to get her boots in there. So these are photos that I printed on photo paper. They're not old original photos. And then I'll ink that with the darker ink, the ground espresso, around the edges, and then vintage photo just to warm it up to more of a sepia tone, a vintage photo tone. And so see, the idea there is that the little girl will be, or I think it's a boy actually, will be on their lap or on the flower. And then this one, again, just the vintage photo to make it not so black and white. Tell this one's just regular paper. Okay, so then on the other one I backed them with the dark blue, and I think I like the way that looks. I think it makes them pop off the page a little more than just the inking. So this is just a piece of blue paper out of a magazine, so it has a slight sheen to it. It's not a super glossy magazine. I would call it medium glossy. Not quite matte. And I'll just glue these both down with a little bit of space around them to cut around. So you kind of have to cut them out twice, but I feel like it's worth it. And what I did for the first one was I used my ripple scissors to do the cutting on the blue. So I'll do that again. That's the same ripple that I used along that bottom edge. So that one's going to go on here. I think. Yeah, down in this corner probably, so I can see that flower. I might even narrow her up a bit. If I cut up here, it's not going to be easy because it's kind of damp right now from the glue, but I think I can get it done. And then right up there. And that way I can get a little bit more of the purple flowers. I don't like completely covering my background. I know it's okay to cover things in the background, but I want this color scheme, so I don't want to completely get rid of it. I love the way that navy blue looks with mauve and green. And so that one is going to sit right about there. Perfect. I love that when you've got the paper doll cutouts and they look like they're sitting on something that's part of the background. Okay, so we'll put those, we'll figure out what we're going to do with lace first. So with these doilies that I've been using, what I did was I just took like an edge. Actually, I'll cut two at once. I think I'd like this one somewhere like here. Again, to not cover up the flower. So I'm going to cut right up here, and these scissors don't like thin paper. They would much prefer to be cutting through more thickness. So what I'll do with the one piece is ink it just a bit so it's not completely white on the inner edge where it's going to be in here. And then I'll very gently use some glue stick on the back of it. It's so thin that that usually is enough. And I'll have it glued right onto the edge there. And then I'm going to go around just with my straight scissors and cut the excess off. Fingers are very gluey already. And then I feel confident that that can then go down. So I'll glue the back of it with some glue stick and then my tacky glue. Very pretty. And what will I put? Memories. These are little labels that I stamped and then cut out and then backed with origami paper. Maybe I'll do a video of that. Remember is one I used before, but I could use it again. And with these ones, I just took and inked with the ground espresso just around the edges. I still want it to look purple. And then I put a little bit of vintage photo over the center. It was a pale, pale, pale pink, but I just wanted it to be a little bit more aged looking. And I'll glue that down. down in the corner. And then for up at the top, I could just cut out that or punch out that hole and use it, but what I did was I used a whale tail tab made out of the Tim Hortons cup wrapper, and then I inked it up and then put a little flower on the front. I think that's really cute. I've got lots of these cup wrappers. I'm going to start a fresh one so I don't have that writing in it. Those numbers wouldn't hurt to have them in it, but so I have a whale tail tab punch, and this is, it says Paper Shapers, EK Success. So I'm not sure what brand that is. I'm just gonna get rid of this fold and try to get it fairly straight so my lines aren't going crooked. And I think I'll go ahead and punch another one while I'm at it here. Cut that writing off. Punch a second one for the other one. And then they just fold in half. I mean, you could also use the flat side, but I want the texture. And for these, you glue, really only need to glue on one side just the little ears, and then the other side the whole thing. And then I'm putting that down on the card far enough that it doesn't stick out. It's a little bit wider than the very top of the tag because these were pre-printed tags. I didn't have control of that. It's going down just a bit further than it normally would. And then before I put anything bumpy on the front, I want to put my writing lines on the back. So for that, I'm using the same thing, and I'm going to ink it up and use it like a stamp with the black ink. And it doesn't give me a perfect rectangle because these aren't rectangular, but I don't really worry about it too much. What I can do is what I did on this one, put a little bit of doily if I want down in the corner where it's not covering. I can do that. And you won't even notice that it wasn't perfect. I could put that whole thing there and it would camouflage it. So let's do that. Keep that a little bit cleaner. Very gently with the glue stick. Or these tend to just sort of crumble, these doilies. Very inexpensive paper doilies. Come in like a pack of 100. And then I'll just have to re-ink this edge. Oops, I'm using my good scissors there, my Wanda scissors. But I will re-ink with the ground espresso right on the edge there. And then on the front, I wanted to add a little bit more 3D embellishments. So I've got these mauve lace, which is from Temu. And it's just a lace that you buy with all these pearls already on it. And so I used the largest one. I think I'll continue that because it just looks really good up at the top there. And Beacon 3-in-1 to put that down. And then I think I'll use one of the small ones down here, but what I did on the last one there was I put a little heart instead of the little pearl that came on it, because if this is gonna, I don't even know if this is gonna go in a pocket yet, but if it does, it's gonna need to be thinner. So I'm going to take, is that the same one I used before? Yeah, let's use a different one this time. And I'll cut, actually I don't want to use those good scissors for that either, because I found that it seems to be stuck on with metal behind it. Oh, it's got like a metal prong thing holding it on. So I want to get rid of that prong thing. I'll keep the pearl because I can use it in the middle of a flower sometime. And I'll just take the prong thing out of the lace. It just went flying. It's going to end up in my foot. So I'll glue that down right beside remember here, maybe right here this time. And I don't mind if that's overhanging the edge. I think that looks really neat when it does that. Just hold that down for a second. And while I'm letting that sort of set up, I just want to find something flat in my bling. And those are little hearts that I cut out of tissue box that's sort of iridescent. That'd be cute and really flat. And they don't need inking. That's the shiny blingy thing. So there. Very cute. And now, these other grandparents. I said I wanted to make them skinnier so we could see some more of the purple, but I think I might even make them shorter. So if I can get them to peel, I don't think I can. I'm going to just take them right across here so that they're down a little further. I can see more of these flowers. Maybe put a little piece of lace along the bottom edge to cover up the fact that I cut that blue off. So maybe a piece of real lace. And I should look in my scraps before I cut a piece off, shouldn't I? I certainly have scraps. That'll work. And then I'm going to use the same thing up at the top. I guess my words is what I want to figure out here. Probably remember, or a love story again. Imagine, memories. Let's do memories. I haven't used that yet. Not many of us have memories of these people, just pictures. But there might be some stories floating around that I don't know, and I would love to have that come out if there is anyone with stories about them. Because to me, they're just people on a black and white photo that I don't really know anything about. So I'll glue up the back side of them. Put them on down here in the corner. Just giving them a little bit of space below, so I have room for lace. I'm going to put 3-in-1 down for that. I'm going to go all the way across. Actually, I'm going to use the longer piece. What I like to do when I do that, this lace has been in a drawer, kind of forced into some different positions. I want to kind of pull it tight and hold it into the card for a moment until it sets up. Press it down into the glue and then hold it so that it flattens. And then I'll cut the excess off. think these white scissors have just about had it. They've been used and abused. So that adds a little bit different look to this one. And then what did I say? Memories. I don't mind covering up their bodies because there's really no detail there. And then a little flower as well. And I'm going to do the same thing where I take off this flower or this pearl. Save it in my bling box and get that little metal piece off of there. It's like little prongs. I know you're not going to be able to see it. Little prongs like you would see on a ring setting or something. And put that right in this corner. And what did I use? I used one of those hearts. I guess I could use one again. Then I didn't do my lines yet. I better do them. And you don't have to do the lines if you don't like them. People can write on it without lines. I think I'd like a little bit of doily. Maybe coming down here and wrapping back around up here maybe this time. So basically 2 pieces. And this time, what I have found that you can do is instead of gluing on the back of the doily, you can glue on the card where you want the doily to stick. So like that. And then cut the excess off, or in this case I was going to come around, but it's not gonna work. So I will cut off. Re-ink. It seems like it needs something else up here, but when we get the tab on the top, we'll figure that out. And then this can be down in this corner again. It's nice and flat. It just sort of gives it a little bit of decoration on the back. So again, I'm just gonna put some glue stick where I want that, and then sort of press it down into it and re-ink the outside edge. And if you had another flat sticker of something, like another little flower or something, you could put it there. Okay, the tab. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and ink these bottom edges. You can ink them all, really. Just takes a moment. You don't have to wait till it's on there to ink it. In fact, you can't really ink that bottom edge very well when it's on there. Actually, those I forgot to ink. I'll have to go back and do them. And I would use white glue on this at least. Use that same flower. What I might end up doing is doing a trio pocket of some sort for these three. Maybe have this one as a separate thing. So I'm putting it down fairly low on the tab so that you can still see the tab. I do have to go back and into these. And you see it's hard to ink that bottom edge of that without getting ink all over the back of the card too, so you should do it first. Okay, I'm just wondering if it needs something else. It's got memories, it's got the heart, the doilies, it's got all the same elements, just somehow looks a little plainer because the picture's a little smaller, I think. So those were fun to do, and what I'll do is I will show you how I made these in another video, these little labels. I don't think I did a video on it yet. Maybe I did. I'll have to check. And I think I showed stamping them, but not finishing them off. So I'll come back with some more projects. If you like seeing craft ideas, right now I'm doing a bunch of family photo ones. So if you're interested in that, do stay tuned this summer. These are getting ready for a fall family reunion. But I also do lots of other types of videos as well. Thrift hauls, shopping hauls, dollar store hauls, yard sale hauls, and other types of crafts as well. So if you enjoy that, do come back. You're always welcome. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Most of all, have a great day and happy crafting.